I've actually come to the conclusion that many people you see online are fake. A lot of it isn't real, and a lot of it is a front to get them to where they need to be.
Out of 100, how many people, number one, have got it, and then number two, make it?
Third don't make it, I'd say, out of 100 people because of various different reasons. Miss mum and dad, homesick, cracked under the pressure of not earning a salary, living on their own for the very first time, find selling in general very difficult, daunting, not prepared to pick up the phone. Remaining 2/3, I would say probably 10% are absolute elite, and they will go on and have a very good career.
My guest on today's show really did make it in Dubai. After arriving here 17 years ago and starting a real estate brokerage, he and his brother went on to build the largest real estate brokerage here in the UAE. It's called Allsopp Allsopp. And today, the co-founder, Carl Allsopp, is joining us. How have you seen young people change coming into the workforce and their behaviors and sensitivities?
I find it quite frustrating with young people coming to the business with lack of patience, lack of willing to suffer and actually go through the difficult days and long days. For anyone that needs to be successful, you have to look at other people around you. What have they done? Because there's a good chance that you're going to have to go through what they've gone through, and nothing's going to be different because you're younger or you're in a different generation.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode, a new episode of a new series with our new show, Made in Dubai. My guest on today's show really did make it in Dubai. After arriving here 17 years ago and starting a real estate brokerage, he and his brother went on to build the largest real estate brokerage here in the UAE. You may have heard of it. It's called Allsopp Allsopp. And today, the co-founder, Carl Allsopp, is joining us. Now, Carl's story has been nothing but incredible. From coming here with nothing, learning the basics, getting stuck in, and for the first 4 years admitted that he was absolutely winging it, to go on and build such an incredible company with nearly 700 employees doing so much business here in the UAE is a really fantastic example of what you can do if you set your mind to it. So welcome to the show, the awesome Carl Allsopp. Carl, thank you so much for coming to join us, mate.
You've took your time, mate, inviting me, haven't you? I'm like second best. I've waited. I mean, what years have I waited since I've come here? Lewis has been on. I've not been on, so I'm here. Thank you for inviting me, mate.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we never got to do this? Because what's interesting about our relationship is that I suppose I always had the relationship with Lewis in the early days, and then you and I got to know each other, and probably have got more in common with each other than Lewis and I have. And I've always been. It's always because you've been this guy that's kind of sat in the background. You've not been the guy craving the attention and camera frenzy like somebody else in your family might be.
No, I don't mind being behind the scenes. I was saying to you off camera about our relationship, me and Lewis, and I said Lewis is like Noel Gallagher. He's the front guy. Liam, sorry. He's like Liam. He's the main front guy, and he's the born people know. I'm Noel behind the scenes writing the songs, and I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. So I'm here. You get to see some of the songs and see what Allsopp Allsopp is about and what I'm about. So
can I be bonehead?
You can be bonehead, mate. You can be whoever you want. You're in the band. You've got a job.
You went to see the concert. I think you were there the same day as me. You were up in the stands. I was down at the back with Lewis and some of the others. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. So Oasis is my thing. This is when I left school. This was my era. So I knew all the words. My wife was with me and she just look. Don't know it, but honestly, what I mean, they're going to make so much money, but great experience. It was nice, in, out, all the songs, brilliant atmosphere. I will do it again for sure.
So I was at the pub at 2:00 in the afternoon waiting for Ticketmaster to send me the tickets.
Oh no.
And at 2:30, the tickets didn't come. So I'm off by Sarah, my PA, I'm onto her. I'm like, where's the tickets? Bear in mind, I've got family that have flown in from different places. I've got other family that have trained in, all into North London. And then we got an email from Ticketmaster saying, yeah, your tickets are cancelled.
I could only imagine them phone calls you're having. Probably weren't very pleasant.
No, so what happened is and bear in mind, there were 10 of us. None of the other 9 knew but me. So they're all having a pint, enjoying themselves, singing songs and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. So I come out of the pub, I walk up the street and I'm like, Sarah, what are we going to do? She goes, well, I've got your £6,800 back in your bank account. That's the first stage. She goes, we'll see what we can find out. And then she found 10 tickets online for £1,000 cheaper than we paid in the first place.
I had a result. No waiting around every time, which is good.
Anyway, good event. Right. Let's talk about all things Allsopp. Let's talk about you, partnerships, brothers, dad. Okay, because I'd really like to learn more about that. And lots of people know that Allsopp is the largest real estate brokerage here in the UAE. And there's a lot of companies that have grown over the years, and they'll say the market has led that to be an easy journey for most people. But let's go back to the very beginning in 2008 when this idea of starting a company came together. You were both, I would argue, fairly inexperienced in the whole world of international real estate, but you did have some experience from back home before, yeah?
Yeah, I'd done 7 years in UK estate agency from the age of 17 as a trainee, doing everything you can think of from like the photocopying, the window displays, up to then selling houses. I was running an office at 22, 23 years old. Lewis had followed me into estate agency 2 or 3 years after I did. So I was pretty experienced in what I'd done back home, but opening Allsopp and Allsopp in 2008, we'd both never ran a business before, only worked in an employee capacity. And wow, it was a baptism of fire, because 4 weeks after we'd opened, Lehman Brothers happened, Northern Rock happened a few months afterwards. So the whole world was on meltdown, 3 months, 3 months after we'd opened. And it was a very, very interesting place to be starting up a business.
Talk to me about those first 12 months and the highs and the lows in that 1 year of that journey. Exciting to get a business off the ground, but were you scared? And were there moments where you said to yourself, I don't know if we've just made a bad decision here?
There was one particular day, it's a local chap's hands were on his head, and it's a global meltdown. He's at the UAE Stock Exchange. And I said to Lewis, oh my God, what have we done? And not really understanding at 23, 24 years old, not really understanding the world of finance and the major implications. But what did happen was that more news was coming out about the Lehman Brothers, other things that were happening. And all of a sudden, anything we were trying to sell, we had more phone calls back from owners. I need you to sell it. What can you get me? Every other day, it was a reduction in price, not through us being proactive, them saying I need to get it. To just give you some examples. Palm, Jebel Ali, water homes. You may remember them.
Yeah, the ones in the poem.
Yeah. We were selling them probably at its lowest period, minus what people were buying it for, minus 10, 15, 20% below what they bought them for, just to get money out of it. We've had people in the offices crying, saying, I want to go back home. Just get me whatever you can get for the property. And we're sitting there thinking, very, very difficult to convince someone to buy something, because every day all you're reading is negative related news stories to the world, but also buying properties. Thankfully, as you do when you're starting out, Lewis and I we're hustlers. We do everything we can to try and make money. We've had some really, really good people that were with us at the time, and we had some investors that kind of, without them, probably we wouldn't be here today. We were buying stuff from Brave and buying stuff during that period. We were very close to not being able to pay people. We were in a negative balance in the bank account. That was a very, very scary moment. But it makes you stronger, and you learn from it, and you made a hell of a lot of mistakes in that first 12 months to 3 years, and you look back and think, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, I mean, my father, who, is a big influence on me, Lewis, has never taught me, Lewis, about business, or not how to look at P&Ls, balance sheets, it's more the human aspect. So we're very much learning on the job and learning from people we've hired, from the accountant and so we've never been to business school, never went to university. It's kind of feeling your way through it, and touch wood, we're in 17 years next week, 7th of September. It's gone all right.
That time that you had at the beginning there, was, how much of it was winging it in that first year and kind of like grit, determination and youthful enthusiasm and just sheer optimism that it's going to work out, and how much of it was strategy?
First 2, 3, 4 years we're probably winging it, because we had a business plan, and when we look back at it we were like, oh wow, that was so way off. It was unbelievable. It was overly ambitious. Maybe it was a condition of what happened in the marketplace. Maybe it was just thinking we could do anything we could. But listen, in them first 2, 3, 4 years, you do anything you can, anything within reason to try and, increase your team size, make sure your marketing spend is within, try and sell houses as much as you can or as quick as you can. So I think perhaps when people set up businesses, they overthink strategy. And actually forget the fundamentals is making money, and generating revenue and doing sales. So it was mostly bringing it, and hard work and grit. And I think that's me and Lewis are quite resilient people. I think that, if anything, was a blessing us open in that period, because there were a lot of people closing in and around us, like big names or downsizing. And we kind of got a name very quickly because we were selling quite a lot back then for the size we were, and doing things a little bit differently, and people were taking notice. But there are many, 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 many hundreds and hundreds, I can tell you, that have not stood the test of time in 17 years, and even more recently. So by no means is it a guaranteed success story opening in 2008 or even 2025. There's no guarantee that if you set up in real estate, you're going to make money. It's not as straightforward as what people think.
Let's talk about people, because I know personally, plus I know through you guys, that there's a kind of like a core group of people that have been with you almost from the beginning.
Yeah.
And when I think about culture, I look at lots of companies in your space, and I wonder if they really take culture seriously. How hard is it to find good quality people? How hard is it to train people to become good quality? And how hard is it to find loyal people?
Well, twofold. It's easy to find people and have loyalty and train them when you're smaller. You have a locker room mentality. You have more face time with people on a day-to-day basis, and you can instill your beliefs and how you do things and listen to the people, and hopefully they do the same thing. So we have many, many people, Mark Walters being one of them. He's been with us nearly 16 years from the start, 17 years from the start. I've got Joe Parker, 13, 14 years. I've got Paul Kelly's been with us 13 years. There's probably a good 50 or 60 people who've been with us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years and above, which I'm proud of, and they're a part of the business. Loyalty happens through us demonstrating that what we're doing, how and what we offer, and that our beliefs benefits them. And obviously, there's a friendship there that goes with it, and a bit of trust. That to scale from 0 to 100 is easy, and many people are doing that today because of we're in it together against the world. We're going to beat everyone, and that's great. But then scaling it to 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 to 1,000 people don't have the same face time they would have done 10 years ago. So some people crave that. They crave that one-on-one thing. That then in turn it makes it more difficult to have loyalty. The times we're in now versus 15 years ago, I think people want things to happen quicker. They want instant gratification. Success in real estate specifically doesn't happen overnight. I think when people come here, they see all the programs around the world. They're tuned into selling Sunset and these glamorous ways of selling real estate. But when they come to Dubai, they're selling JVC. But JVC, you can make a hell of a lot of money. But to them, it's like, well, it's not glamorous, and I'm not going to be a millionaire in 12 months. Realistically, it will take 3, 4, 5 years for you to make some really impactful money, which will allow you to make decisions outside of work to then change your life. So culture, coming back to your question, I think a lot of people believed in me and Lewis. We brought a lot of awards along the way, sold a lot of houses. We made people feel good. We trusted people. We looked after them, and in turn, they've kind of stayed with us on the journey. And when I look at competitors these days, when an Allsopp member of staff goes to them, it's like they've solved their problems because they think this person's going to help their business. I like to think when people come here to our business, we train them right. We do things by the book. We've got playbooks of how to do things, when to do things. There's a roadmap. We know what we're doing. We're doing it 17 years. We've got God knows how many managers and real estate owners that worked at our place. What does that tell you? It tells you that what we do works and it's right. I think that's, for anyone joining our business, I know today, if you join Allsopp, it's the the best platform, because it's proven, by the way, that will allow someone to start out their journey in real estate. And it's not, we are the best. It's no, look at all these people around the Dubai that have either made multi-millionaires. And I think that's probably why people are sticking around us as well. We've allowed them to kind of really change their lives. So, I love when I see people bringing their mums and dads to the country and showing them around the offices, or because it's like they mum and dad then see my kids fine, they're safe, they're in a good environment, but also they're able to pay for mum and dad to fly here or take them to a nice hotel. And you've played a very, very, very small part in that journey, so to speak.
Talk to me about navigating behaviours, because when we see what's happened since the time that we first arrived here, the world was a very different place, and young people were very different. If you think about what we went through, yes, we had the financial crisis, and then after the financial crisis, we then got into this whole new world, which included the COVID breakdown, and plus this agenda of young people wanting instant gratification, and then the whole kind of like woke world came upon us, where you couldn't say anything in case you offended somebody, and everybody was extra sensitive. And considering the many thousands of young people you've employed over the years, they stayed young as they were coming through the doors in terms of their ages, but you've got older and older and older and older yourself as time has gone by. And whilst you're considerably younger than me, you've essentially been on that journey. How have you seen young people change coming into the workforce and their behaviours and sensitivities? And how have you managed it?
But as we've grown up, I think as we've grown up, Lewis and I are older people now, I'm 41, the sort of people we hire probably has grown up a little bit more, certainly more in recent years. But I find it quite frustrating with young people coming to the business with lack of patience, lack of willing to suffer and actually go through the difficult days and long days and have a bit of, when you go home, not quit. It's sometimes dish yourself down, let's go again. Blame culture. There's loads of reasons why things don't work out and never really is it themselves. Sense of entitlement. It's very, very frustrating. And, whether it's labels or whatever it might be, I'm probably still quite old fashioned, honest with you, in terms of my beliefs. And I'm probably a little bit hard in terms of I don't have much sympathy or empathy for that new world, or that they say woke is broke. Woke, we're in a world right now where probably we're going away from that a little bit. I think I just try and instill to people that if you want to be successful, you've got to have them dark days. I go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. And I actually think I like starting my day with probably the hardest thing I'm going to do that day, because it's anything else after that is probably quite easy. And I talked to my younger brother, he's just joined us 6, 7, 8 months ago, and I'm trying to convince him to work out in the morning because of the energy it gives you during the day. I think it makes you better. And he's like, no, he's 26, isn't that age era? No, it doesn't work for me. I like lying in the morning and going in the evening. I'm not going to fight that fight, but I just think for anyone that needs to be successful, you have to look at other people around you, look at their journeys, and realize that if you want to be successful, what have they done? Because there's a good chance that you're going to have to go through what they've gone through, and nothing's going to be different because you're younger or you're in a different generation. These stories, there's so much you see online which is conditioning young people today, which makes them believe that they can make overnight money today in meme coins, crypto trading, or being an influencer. I think there was a study a while ago where many, many young people, when they leave school, one of their highest job titles is they want to be an influencer. That blows my mind, because that makes me then think, you want a shortcut and an easy life to make more money. Life's not like that.
If you started again today, okay, and you came in, okay, you don't have the years of experience you've got, and you came in to be a real estate broker today, do you think there are any rules that are different, okay, psychological, emotional habits, behaviors, actions that would be different today than they were 17 years ago when you walked through?
Social media. I think people are poisoned to... Too many people consume what life actually is and what's real. And, when people go online and they look at what other people have and perhaps don't take a step back and see their successes, it completely ruins what they've done. So I think social media, whilst it has many, many, many positives, I actually feel sorry for a lot of young people because there's a certain way you should look, you should speak, the peer pressures of what you should be wearing or what you should be driving. I've actually come to the conclusion that many people you see online are fake. And a lot of it isn't real, and a lot of it is a front to get them to where they need to be. So for anyone young, I would say don't worry about watching who's online, whilst there is value and there's content there which can be helpful. I would look and take a step back, put the phone down, look around you and who's successful, and try and learn more off them than what you should be doing on the phone or what you should be looking at wearing, and how to be the next crypto investor, because they're probably not doing very well themselves.
It's interesting. If you take real estate, there's a small percentage of people in real estate that do extremely well, like outrageously well, which is just the same as OnlyFans. There's a small percentage of people that do extremely well, but the rest might be earning a couple of $1,000s a month and no more. But they want the...
But perception tells a different, to the world, I want to be the next OnlyFans person because everyone's doing well, and everyone assumes everyone's doing well in real estate. They're not. There are many that don't make it, and that's why there's a high churn in real estate.
Would you, if you started today, would you have to work harder than you worked 17 years ago, or would the same rules apply to you?
Look, the numbers are that when we opened, there were around 2,000 real estate brokerages. The last count I checked was just under 9,000. So there's more competition.
Yep.
There are 33,000-ish real estate licensed brokers. I would imagine there's a fair few unlicensed.
Yeah.
That number was, from memory, single digits 15 years ago. So the competition is far greater. I do believe there is a lot of poor people practicing. I don't think you don't have to do a great deal to stand out. One of my first things I was told is people listen to what you say, they'll watch what you do, and then decide if they trust you. And business is about trust, right? And if you demonstrate your knowledge, let's say on social media, and you're consistent. I bought off Fintan finally. Fintan now works for Allsopp and Allsopp. He used to work for one of our competitors before. I bought off him when he was at our competitors because I trusted what he was saying, and he was consistent, and he was not an obvious salesperson. So do you have to work any harder? No, I don't think you have to work any harder. I just think you probably have to work as hard as you did 15 years ago. But to people today, working that hard is like, you're asking me to do what?
Yeah.
That's unreasonable. I'm supposed to work in the evenings and Saturdays and Sundays. In real estate, you have no life. And it sounds awful because we'll never say to you, ever, by the way, you can't do this, you can't do this, you've got to work at the weekends. I like boundaries and I like you to make your decisions yourself. But if someone calls you Saturday morning and you don't answer, they're calling someone else. So you have to be available. You do sacrifice a lot. Darren Murphy is one of our top people. I see him in the offices Saturday evening with his wife and kids at home after the football, or there's days and times where you see people doing stuff and they're the best people. They're different. They might go and sign a contract at 11 o'clock at night. And I think little things that make the huge difference. And if you're new to this industry, you've got to accept that you've got to be available. You've got to work harder than anyone else. And if you do that and you're consistent, by the way, you'll be okay.
So if I make some comparisons there, I go back to my first time doing sales, which was in London selling office equipment. And I had a pact. It was EC3, so it was one postcode in the city of London. I had to do 100 door knocks every day, 100 cold calls every day, and that was just life. That's what I was taught to do. I then go and work overseas in Hong Kong in a highly competitive market in financial services, and I had to outwork everyone. I was 23 years old, and my boss said to me, "Who's going to trust their life savings with you? You know nothing about anything, but we've got to make sure that you learn as quick as you can and work as hard as you can. So you've got to outwork these older guys that are a little bit lazier." So I learned all these tactics. I then came into the UAE many years later, so 20 years ago. Everyone, to be successful, had to work really hard because it was a small market, highly competitive. You mentioned there's a lot more agents now and a lot more brokerages. We've just gone through 4 million people in the UAE. So the population has doubled in 15 years. No other city in the world has that happened. So whilst lots more agents, lots more brokers, lots more agencies, lots more developers, lots more people to buy as well. So arguably that competition might be the same. And I'm pretty sure if I applied the rules that I applied social media skills aside, the rules that I applied on day one of coming here when I had no clients and nothing, and day one of you coming here when you had no clients and nothing, and put the grit and the determination into it, and we both started today at any company, I'm sure we'd get there.
There was a guy who joined me, a Brummie chap, joined us 8-9 weeks ago, and you speak to me just like a bundle of energy. And you've just said, look, do this, this, and this, follow some steps. And 3-4 weeks in, wobble. He was questioning, is this right for him? First bit of adversity. But all he has done is follow what we've asked him to do in terms of speaking to as many people as you can, get FaceTime as many people as you can, the old principles. He is absolutely flying. He's just gone up past 300,000 in his second or third month. In 1 month, by the way, I bought him a new suit and he's feeling great. And that's just keeping things really simple. He's not thought outside the box of social media or done anything different. He's just in the basics well and speaking to people. I find it frustrating in sales or real estate. So I have a fair amount of properties in Dubai. I get probably more than 100 WhatsApps a day. Speaking to someone behind a WhatsApp is the worst way to move forward in this job. It might be a great reference point to follow up a conversation, but I will never buy off someone for the very first time they reach out to me via WhatsApp. Because like, how do I know you? What have you done? What have you demonstrated? I want to speak to someone. So I just think today's generation are scared. They're scared to death to pick up the phone and have a chat. How you doing? Good. Wait, I've seen you been out looking. Have you seen anything yet? Lots of open questions and not having to sell. Just asking the right questions, having a conversation. And people know when you're on the phone, like without being like a hardcore salesperson, you can have a very nice conversation with someone, keep it quite short, get to the point, but get something from it and not be scared of, oh, I don't know what they might say, or they might say no. If they say no, fine, move on to the next one. So hiding behind WhatsApp is probably one of the biggest reasons why people don't make it in the job.
Okay, two parts. One, there's a lady in Dubai that teaches young people how to make telephone calls.
Okay.
I don't mean sales calls.
Yeah.
Speak to people on the phone.
Mad. Because they're not used to it.
She's got, yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's got a business where she goes into companies to teach young people how to make telephone calls to people, colleagues, which is just nuts, because we never knew it any other way. Secondly, out of every 100 people that you recruit, and then also maybe even give me facts around the industry, out of every 100 people that you recruit, out of that 100, how many people, number one, have got it, and you're like, they've got it, and then number two, make it?
A third don't. A third don't make it out of 100 people because of various different reasons. Miss mum and dad, homesick, cracked under the pressure of not earning a salary, living on their own for the very first time. Find selling in general very, very difficult, daunting, not prepared to pick up the phone. Loads of different reasons. There's not ever one. And then of the remaining 2/3, I would say probably 10% are absolute elite, and they will go on and have a very, very, very good career. The remainder will probably do very, very well. They might earn 150,000 pounds in a year and carry on at that rate. And some might surprise you that people do. But the level of being ultra, ultra successful, the bar is so high. And I think it's the people that are able to hang around the most and go through them tough times and stay the longest are the ones where they really have the most lucrative careers. And I think what people need to realize in real estate is you can earn a phenomenal amount of money in real estate, phenomenal. But I always say to people, this job won't make you rich or make you a lot of money, but it's the decisions you make outside of this job with the money you've accumulated that will make you super rich. And there are many, many staff in my offices where they don't have to work for us today, by the way. They are phenomenally wealthy from what they've generated from properties and shares and stocks and whatnot. So just making sure people make the right decisions. The people that hang around that are successful, the 60%, 50%, don't waste your money, because the moment you land here, that little clock of Dubai and the expiry date starts ticking. And it might be quite a long duration, but don't waste this time, because especially now, wow, we are very, very lucky to be in this country in this time and what's going on. I think some people will go away regretting that didn't make the most of it.
If you had the choice between 100 £100,000 producers or 10 £1 million producers, and you had to choose, what would you choose?
I would say 10, less headaches. There are obviously lots of risks because people leave, blah, 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 but more people, they say more money, more problems. And it goes with people, but I've experienced that we've got just shy of 700 people in the business. More people you have is more problems. The probably sensible answer is to say, I'll have 100,000 people, whatever you said, whatever the number was.
There's 100,000 producers or 10 1 million producers.
Look, from a headache perspective, be great. Be really great. But the reality is, I think, for me, I don't think any business or department should have a single point of failure.
Elaborate.
Whether it's a department head or a business, if you're reliant on one or two people, it's not a business. So I think when you're building a business and building teams and functions, never be too reliant on one producer. You make sure you've got your top producer and you've got some really good people around him learning. So in the event that the top producer leaves, you have kind of a ready-made succession plan. And that's same with department heads. If we have a person in the business where they leave today, that department is finished. That is not a department that will kind of stand the test of time. So it's ensuring that for anything you do this succession plans, you've got people around them, they're learning and benefiting off that one person. And people, you'd be surprised about having one excellent producer. They bring a lot. They help bring people up around them.
Talk to me about AI and how AI is going to impact or currently impacting your industry and your company, and what you're scared of and what you're excited about.
I had a bit of a debate with someone about AI, and they said AI is going to take over real estate and it's going to take over this and people are going to lose their jobs. I disagreed. I believe the real use case of AI in the short term, and let's call it medium term, will be ambient. It will be the functions, the things you can't see, but will be having maximum impacts without you even knowing it. So we are going to absolutely, the biggest capital expenditure we've ever made in 17 years in business, we're going through right now. It's scary how much we're going to spend, but all of it is driven around AI, and it'll create a moat for Allsopp and Allsopp, indistinguishable, where whatever we're building, no one else will have it because it'll be proprietary to us. So from an agent perspective, it will be able to generate more business for them. You'll be able to alert them of opportunities or potential missed opportunities. Because from an agent perspective, it's a hard job. You're spinning so many plates, buyers, sellers, new inquiries that you sold a year ago and it's our anniversary. How can you stay on top of this? AI is there to kind of do stuff in the background to present information to you to say, this, you might need to do something here, you might need to do something here. So I think AI, whilst we know ChatGPT is, we're typing into it, it's front facing, the progress it's making is quite phenomenal, but it's getting slower and slower. I think the real use case for us right now would be what's happening behind the scenes and generating leads and kind of bringing information to clients without us even doing anything. I actually think that if a real estate agent comes to work, they shouldn't really be sitting behind a computer because so much should be being done for them, and more time should be spent being out, shaking hands and meeting people, and clients getting information without the hard work of putting stuff together.
Okay, folks, let's talk about real estate. Now, a recent partnership that we've just established on the podcast is with AYS Developers. Luxury properties with high-end finishes from people that really understand the subject. Often in Dubai, you'll find stuff that is maybe substandard. With AYS Developers, you're not going to see that. You're going to see fantastic properties that you can buy, you can invest in, you can make a home on Dubai Islands and other places too. So go visit aysdevelopers.ae and check them out. I promise you it'll be worth the trip. It's interesting. The way I see it is top line and net. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if AI can make my business run more cost efficiently, hence making my net profit higher, then that's really, really valuable to me.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, it's like, how can I take the current business I have and make it more efficient than it actually is by using AI? Then once I've done that, how can I implement systems that can do all of the things that you were just mentioning?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the greatest failings of a real estate brokerage is selling a property to me. And then once I've moved into that property, never following up.
Awful.
And I don't know any real estate brokerage, and I've got to know quite a few of them over the years, that had or has an efficient process for that. And so I say to the real estate brokerage, you don't call me. What if I was buying a house on my mum? What if I was building an investment portfolio? What if? If you don't have a relationship with me, then you're not my go-to guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not my go-to guy, then the next person that comes along with the next idea, or if I've got an idea, I'm going to be talking to other people because there are so many brokers here and you've just lost me. But you could have had all of my money over a long period of time.
I will say, because I've seen it firsthand. I will say, because once you have been sold to, typically an agent is that busy that you're back of mind, which is a terrible way of thinking, by the way. And relationships and how your experience sometimes is dependent on the person you're working with, not necessarily the brokerage. There's certain brokers and certain brokers where you think, wow, they're always going to remember, you're always going to touch base. Darren is amazing at it. He will speak to you for 15 months before even selling you anything. And then at month 16, you contact him. But what AI will do is will give you back more time. It will kind of nurture things in the background, which will help. Probably shrink headcount, because there's lots of jobs that probably can be done quicker, faster, whether that's support, finance, that increase accuracy. But it won't be as in your face as what people think it is. That's my view. That might come, but I think it'll be more ambient in happening in and around you.
So here's an idea that I've got around salespeople. Okay. So you think about it. People have gone from meeting and shaking hands, and that's I can get to look you in the eyes and decide whether I'm going to like you, know you, trust you and stuff. And then I go through this whole evolution of AI. Then I'm not going to know who I can trust, because everything's going to be AI. And I'm going to eventually crave to shake someone's hand and look him in the eye. You're real, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think this is going to go full circle in the world of salespeople being salespeople. Yeah. So I think there'll be a dip while there's this perceived change that everybody wants to move over to, large ticket stuff. And then it'll come back to people being like,
I'm unsure whether someone would make such a huge financial decision in their life completely with not involving a human being. People, when they do a big transaction, they want to feel like they're making the right decision. And having someone, they do. Spencer, when you buy something.
I bought 2 flats in Muswell Hill in London 14 years ago by email.
Okay.
And I look at that and I'm like,
but how did you know that person? Was there a relationship there? Did you know the company?
It'll be the maddest story, everything. Do you remember Grant Bovey? Imagine Homes. He was married to Anthea Turner. He was a property developer in the UK, and Anthea Turner was a TV presenter. Yeah, and he did some adverts on telly where he was taken off from a helicopter and whatnot over a property development.
Yeah,
I saw that, and then I went on their website. They sent me an email. Yeah, and I literally bought 2 flats in Muswell Hill, one for each of my kids.
But you've seen his advert, which gave credibility, which then made you think, so it's all linked to a person. It might not have met them, but you've seen him. Or I think when you whether it's a family, it's their first home, second home, or someone spend 20 million, when they're about to do the deal, they want reassurance. It might not be as obvious as you think it is.
So what it will say to them,
I want to feel safe. I'm doing the right thing. The market's good. It's not going down, or it's a good house in a good community. AI will service loads of information about data in neighborhoods and safety and loads of stuff. But I do believe the human being as part of the job will not be going away anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen these AI auto callers? And
I hate it. I get them all the time. My wife called me the other day and she said, someone's called me and I'm convinced it's not human. Have you had this before? And I get a lot of them. And as soon as I hear, I just think, oh my God. Like, I've had loads of propositions about people pitching me this, by the way, and I've been so against it. Now, you could argue that always an efficiency. Someone might buy it. You get more calls done, blah, blah, blah. Do I want to be associated to my clients as a robo-calling company? No, because it just shows you that we don't care and they're just another number. Just going through a list of names, saying, do you want to buy something?
What if it was an auto caller that was efficient and called up and said, hey, Carl, I'm just calling on behalf of Spencer. He asked me to wish you a happy birthday. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Would I know if that was AI? Because that gets tiring after 3 calls.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind,
It's getting better, isn't it?
loads better, like more human, like less robotic. But if you're a client and I've got 3 properties in the same community, I'm going to get the same call. And I'm like, please don't call me, block.
Right, let's talk about investing. How many properties approximately have you purchased in the UAE since you've been here?
More than 20.
More than 20. Okay. And of those 20 properties,
More than 30.
More than 30.
Yeah.
When you look at the investment decisions that you've made, have you been consistent as an investor all the way through using the same principles each time? Or have you made unusual decisions that you look back on and say, I didn't stick to my strategy that time? Tell me what the process was.
I love spreadsheets. I'm like weird into like how things work, payment plans, budgeting, ROIs, all that sort of stuff. If I'm being honest with you, in the early days, so we're talking probably...
What was the first one you bought?
First one I bought was 3 townhouses in Arabian Ranches 3 in the UK, in Dubai. So we're talking 2018, I bought these.
Okay.
People laughed at me. Why the hell are you buying these properties out there, a million miles away from anywhere it's been...
Have you still got them?
Sold them.
You sold them, okay.
And done my laptop, yeah.
How long did you keep them for?
I wait until they're built.
Okay.
So in general, I tend to do that because...
So you buy, then you get them completed, then you sell them?
Yeah.
That's your investment strategy?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some of it I've retained, but I
teach people this because you're an experienced guy. You've got you're arguably an expert at doing this, and there's going to be lots of people listening to this going, I don't know what to do. So give us some advice.
Okay, so if you're buying, I believe the most money is to be made 2 years after handover, because there are many, many, many people that try and make that money, that flip, so to speak, during the build. The problem during the build is the pool of people are a lot smaller because you need lots of upfront money to be able to take over the payment plan and pay the premium if the owner's asking that. If you wait nearer to handover, then you have a new pool of buyers, people that are able to mortgage properties. That's great. The funnel gets bigger to people to be able to buy. The issue with that is there are many, many people that tend to have the same idea, that they want to sell it at handover. But also, if you're buying a new community off plan, it's not ready at handover. Everything around it is still being developed. So this Arabian Ranches that I'd bought, I rented it for, I think, a year, 18 months, and still around it was lots of building happening. So from a buyer's perspective, it's a little bit like, I'm still...
Bit of a building site, really.
Yeah, a building site. So my advice to anyone would be, buy something, have the intention of seeing it through. And I think that's the responsible thing. Make sure you've got the money to do it. I think when we started in 2008, there were many, many people that purchased a property, put 5%, 10% down, but had no means to complete the transaction and were hoping to flip it on, which a lot of people got their fingers burnt. But with today's time, which is great, there's more liquidity in the market. So more people must put more money down in order for it to kind of change hands. So my advice would be, and what I do, I practice what I preach. I buy something, I see through the transaction, I rent it, I set it, forget it. And then in 18 months, 2 years time, I'll look at it and say, shall I keep it or should I get rid of it? And there's a very good chance, by the way, if you buy it, rent it, your yield will be phenomenal because you've got 3-4 years of appreciation. Hopefully it will be, a decent amount. So your yield will be very, very good. I've got properties that are 13-14% net because of...
It reminds me a little bit, and I want to really dive into this quickly. It reminds me a little bit of people going to look at a property and not being able to visualize what it would be like. But it's almost like you're giving it a chance for the world to grow up around it. It's like maybe the schools and the shops, the Choitrums or the Spinneys opens, the palm trees are now planted, the roads are finished, the area, the park's been done, and the communal swimming pool's all sorted out. And so it's now a place people can drive into and they can say, well, I could live here. Yeah. Whereas before, maybe they couldn't imagine living there because it looked like a building site.
There's always money to be made in what people can't see. And I don't just mean the development, but, Palm Jebel Ali, that area. People look at it now, or even Dubai South, it's miles away. There's nothing there. There's nothing there now. But you look at the plans and the infrastructure that's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. Wow, what a place to be. And that was the same principle with Arabian Ranches. Yes, it's far away, but I was buying a property at 1.2 million dirhams, 3 bedrooms, 3-bedroom townhouse. No brainer. That in itself at the time, and I think when people are investing, you have to roll the dice. You have to take a risk. You can't over-analyze everything. And for the first few purchases, I rolled the dice. I thought, I need to get in the market. I believe in the long term. The market will grow, and I think it will be able to consume it there. Roll the dice, see what happens. Worst case, I'll keep a hold of it and rent it.
Do you like researching properties?
Now I have to, because the purchases are probably a little bit bigger and there's more involved with that. I like numbers in general. I'm fascinated with making things work. Lewis sits down with me, and I will show him what I've got, and he'll sit next to me and say, "Can I have that, please?" And I don't know, make sure you want to validate your decision, right? But sometimes you do have to kind of take a bit of a leap of faith and think, okay, we're in Dubai, it's near the sea, for argument's sake, and I bought it in Ras Al Khaimah. Now, Ras Al Khaimah, you actually look at the statistics, population of 300,000, not a lot, there's not a lot happening there at the minute. There will be in a few years' time. That is a punt. Who knows what's going to happen? I would like to think with the casino and tourism and the airport happening there, there's a fundamentals in 10 years' time, it might be good. But my fear is lots of people are buying in Ras Al Khaimah, being told that they can buy something and flip it for 20, 30%. And then 2 years in, I've got to keep paying money and you can't sell it. I don't have the money. So it all comes back to when you buy something, make sure you've got the means to ensure you complete it.
Well, so what happens if I go and buy from a developer and I put my 25% down, and then I've got my installment plan and I get to 50% and I run out of cash? What happens as an investor when I'm buying an off-plan property?
Well, it depends on the developer. Some developers will probably give you a little bit of grace, allow you some more time. There may be some penalties associated to that. Depending on how far down the road of non-payment, they could eventually then take you to court and essentially take the property back off you because you haven't fulfilled your contract, your obligations.
So is it they take the property from you, or they take you to court to reclaim the money?
Or they've had to go to court and then reclaim the property back from you because you've not, your contract you've entered into in the SPA, you're saying we're going to pay X, Y, Z over this period. You've not fulfilled your obligations. So they're within their right. It's not a straightforward process. But again, it just comes back to don't rely on this. I say in our podcast, there are so many things I see in my Instagram feed now where people are talking capital appreciation, flip it in 2 years, do this. I'm just looking, I'm thinking, no, please don't buy it on that premise. Who knows what's going to happen? Real estate is a long-term play always. There are going to be short-term opportunities that present itself, and it's up to you to make a decision if you decide to sell. But real estate is always a long-term play, and I think people need to remember that.
Let's look at the different asset classes. We've got equities, we've got currencies, we've got fixed income, so we've got lending, we've got commodities, we've got equities, currencies, fixed income. Real estate is the fifth one, and the sixth one now is crypto.
Yeah.
When we look at crypto and real estate, okay, a lot of people know that they can leverage crypto. And so you've seen a lot of people make a lot of money by leveraging. A lot of people lose an awful lot of money by leveraging as well. Highly volatile market if you look at it from a short-term point of view.
Yeah.
Over the long term, though, there's no arguments over the long term. Yeah. So like you say, take a long-term approach, leave it there. It's kind of like forget about it. Buy the property.
Hard to do that. Well, a lot of people get nervous with volatility and make emotional decisions. And I think with investing in general, you can't be emotional. You probably read the news or looking too much into things is not a good thing. You've got your strategy from the outset. Dig your heels in, go with it, and in time is the greatest, repair of everything.
Let's give people some tips here. Let's take 3 things that an investor buying real estate in Dubai. There's lots of new people that are kind of like, should I buy in Dubai? Should I invest in Dubai? I've made some content over that kind of stuff recently where I'm like, a flat in Notting Hill, a flat on Dubai Islands, or Palm Jebel Ali. It's kind of like, for me, a lot of it's no-brainer, but I have this massive advantage of living here for 20 years. And so like you, we know it, we feel it, we smell it, and we taste it.
Yeah.
There's lots of people that might have been here for their 2-week holiday, or they've been here a couple of times and played golf and whatnot. And now they're going, well, maybe I should start investing in Dubai. What should you avoid like the plague? Give me 3 things to avoid.
In real estate in Dubai?
In real estate in Dubai.
something which sounds too good to be true in terms of an investment. So, for example, if you have a payment plan which is way too attractive, for example, whether it's monthly or, it just doesn't make sense.
Like a post-handover payment plan?
No, post-handover plan, they have its place, and I bought post-payment plans. But if you've got a payment plan, which let's say it's an amount per month, my first thought would be, okay, well, if you're only paying 5,000 dirhams a month for argument's sake, how is the developer going to afford to fund the whole construction of everything and actually see it through? I would focus on developers and location. So some real solid developers. I really like what Ellington do. Obviously Miras, you've got Nikhil, Emar. With these developers, there is a track record. It's going to be delivered within a certain time frame. So I would probably always steer towards kind of people that have done something before and have shown what they can do and when they can do it. There are a lot of independent developers who come into the country in the last 2-3 years. Some have never done it here before. Some may have done it back in their home country, but they're always probably a little bit more guarded with, okay, what have you done before? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is probably the oldest cliche in the book. Well, two things: making sure you buy at the right price, but also location. Buying somewhere really far out in the middle of the desert somewhere, I would be asking questions. Okay, so the development looks great, the brochure's great, the price is good, but what's happening around there? What's near it? How can I get to school? Where's the IFC? Where is the Dubai Mall? Where is Dubai Marina? How far is it? Look at the networks there. So location and then price as well. Doing your research and making sure that if you're buying in a certain community, how does that measure up to other things which may have launched? Price per square foot. Are the units, if it's a cheap price, are the units you're buying, are they smaller? And that's some things that people can get caught out on. They might see something for 1 million dirhams and it's 500,000 cheaper than the next one. But you're buying a studio of 300 square feet and it's very, very small. So it's just looking at the details. And a lot of people fall into the trap of going to a developer directly. And this may feel like a sales pitch, by the way. Oh, use a broker. No, and I can tell you from Finton, my head of developer sales, the stuff that he brings to my attention that I miss. So, for example, there was one particular unit that I really liked. I thought, this is brilliant, really like it. He said, Carl, don't touch that. He said, look at this, columns. You have columns that you in buildings to support the whole building. It was right in the middle of the unit, a bit of an eyesore, and probably eats into a lot of space, and it's not really a good layout. So making sure that you're getting a different perspective and stuff, and maybe dealing with a broker that's experienced that will spot things that you won't. Buying somewhere that's anywhere near the sea is brilliant. Don't build many of them anymore. Anywhere near the sea, villa townhouses. My God, like if you can buy villa townhouses here, they aren't building anywhere near enough of them. They aren't even being built quickly enough. So that would be somewhere that I'll probably spend a little bit more, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. Probably less apartments, more villa townhouses.
What do you think of Dubai Islands? Is that a good place to invest?
Well, look, it's going to be on the sea. My concern is the fragmentation. There's loads of different developments doing different things, and with that, is there uniformity in terms of the whole island and how it looks and the green? I don't know, is the honest truth, but I always like trying to buy in a master community where one person has control of everything, and things are going to be done to the same and uniform standard. Look, it's near the sea, it's going to be new, it's going to be shiny. I would like to think it's going to be very, very nice. But I'll be interested to see how everything else is handled on there.
And then obviously Jebel Ali is interesting as well.
I bought there.
Yeah. Do you know what part of me thinks that I'm going to be retiring there? It just makes me think that because it's so much bigger.
I think it's more well thought out. So the Palm's fantastic, by the way, and living on the beach, I said to you, is probably one of my dreams, living on the sea. But what I hate about the Palm Jumeirah is getting on and off it. Getting on and off at certain times. So the beauty about
Tell me about that.
Oh my God, honestly. And New Year's Eve as well, like, don't even come here.
Yeah.
But the Palm Jebel Ali, you've got dedicated on-off entrances for all the hotels. Amazing. You've got one entrance specifically for people who actually live there. I just think it's so much more well thought out. Even like the circulation of the water around the fronts to ensure there's no like stagnant water there, which happened, many.
But you have essentially this. The Palm Jumeirah is 20 years old, 25 years old, and it's still being built on.
I know, it's wild.
And so then you take Palm Jebel Ali, which is twice as big, plus all of the land mass, the Dubai waterfront project, all that kind of stuff. That's got to be another 20-year project as well.
Well, I bought something and it's ready supposedly in 2028. It won't get delivered in 2028. What will happen is probably you probably have to hold that for another 5 years on top of that to have it resemble any form of, mature looking community. I think it's going to be amazing. I agree. It's going to take a long, long time. Maybe they will learn a lot from what they've done here to speed things up. Maybe.
Do you think UK real estate is worth investing in?
I have UK real estate for diversification. I'm worried about the UK.
Tell me what your worries are.
I just come back from a trip there and the sentiment of the country is not in a good place. Government driven. There's too much. I don't want to say socialist, but the views of basically, look, the Labour government for me doesn't work for that economy. And I think a lot of people are seeing that now. They've perhaps voted wrong. There's not a lot of growth happening in the country. You can see with developments, they're not selling as quickly as you would have thought they would have done. Loads of millionaires leaving country. That's been highly publicised. I think there's no reason why Dubai's here welcome everyone because it's not in a great place. I would hope everywhere works in cycles. You're going to have good and down periods, and I'd like to think UK can find its feet. But is it safe? I've got 2 daughters. Would I be happy them growing up there right now? Probably not. Would I be happy with their environment in terms of what they're learning and the people they're growing around and the habits and behaviours they have? Probably not. I'm an optimist. I'd like to think UK can make its comeback, but right now I'm worried.
The United Arab Emirates is doing a really good job of not making it easy for people to retire here. For us, while we were through our working career, that's fine. But when we go into retirement, let's say at 65 as a standard date people retire, the cost of medical insurance is outrageously high. We have people that we know that have retired from their jobs, husband and wife couple, got a nice house on Jumeirah Golf Estates or wherever, and they're having to pay $25,000 a year for medical insurance. And when you get older, obviously having medical support is really important because of the risks that go with being old. To make this attractive for people to stay into their retirement and forevermore, this has to be addressed in some capacity. When you look at Cyprus, for example, my parents have lived there for 15 years. They paid their national insurance contributions all the way through the UK. They're retired over there and they get free NHS equivalent in Cyprus. So they can live there, no problem at all. But for my parents, if I think about paying $25,000, they wouldn't be able to live here.
Assuming that they're able to pay it, do you think that because of the care here, their ability to live longer could happen living in Dubai? Because I believe the medical system here is fantastic. For example, in the UK, I've got family members that have been waiting months and months, sometimes 9, 10, 12 months for the most basic of things. That's not acceptable. So yes, what is the answer? I don't know. Subsidised, I don't know. You'd like to think that people are in a position to be able to pay that from what they've done up until that period. Who knows?
But, someone's built up a pot of money. They've paid their house off. The typical person, they've got $100,000 to or $120,000 a year to live on their retirement. They've got their golf membership. They go for dinner once a week. Their kids and now their grandkids live here as well.
Yeah.
So they really want to be here, and then they've got to be whacking out 24,000.
So what do you think the answer is?
Well, I think the solution is going to be the same as what the solution will be everywhere else. If you look at the model of Singapore, I think the UAE is following that model quite closely. We just saw Oman announce income tax to be launched, and I think they will have to launch income tax here. And when they launch income tax here, they'll be able to use some of that income tax to subsidise elderly care, because there's no old people's homes here.
Yeah.
And that's because this is really bizarre when you think about it. You and I would think, and old people are the standard, that's what goes on. Here it doesn't, because Arab cultures, the elderly live with their family. So your mum and dad would live with you, my mum and dad would live with me. Now, I said to my mum, when one of you two dies, Mum, you're probably going to have to come and live with me in Dubai. She was like, no, not on your Nelly. I wouldn't live with you if you don't
You've got to come to Cyprus.
Yeah. But she's not even that. You're not living with me. She's like, I don't want you living with me. So our culture's different.
Yeah.
So there aren't old people's homes here.
Mm.
Do you think from an investment point of view, from a real estate point of view, sheltered accommodation, retirement living and stuff like that will become something popular for people to be involved with as a real estate investment over the course of the coming years?
Well, look, you look at what's happened around the world as a kind of a barometer of, the over 65s accommodation or retirement homes, so to speak. That has been extremely popular in the UK, where you're unable to purchase a property unless you're a certain age.
Mm.
Is that a way of allowing some of the real estate, let's say when we go through a moment of calm in the real estate, is that a way to address that? Is it a way of shifting inventory to make it a bit more inclusive for possibly, yeah. I mean, if it's worked other places around the world, I would imagine Dubai would probably follow suit and do something there. But I don't know, like do Dubai see this place for everyone to be living here after 65? I don't know. Is it more they want a working population here? I don't know.
Well, the trouble you've got is you've got generations. I mean, you take me, I'm 55 years old.
You look great though.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I just want to deal with this because I'm 55. In 10 years' time, so in less than 10 years' time, I'm going to be 65 years old. And at 65 years old, I'm going to be officially someone who gets a free bus pass in the UK. And I will have, and I'm lucky because I've been able to amass some wealth and I'll be able to live comfortably off that. But other people like that, okay, going to get to that point, it's going to be decision time.
Mm.
I don't think the government wants the people that have helped build this country get to their 65th, where their kids are probably living here as well and built their lives, to think that there's no way out, or no way forward, sorry, and the only way is to get on a plane and go and live in, I don't know, a Cyprus or Spain or Portugal and whatnot. Elderly people still bring revenue into the country. They still spend money, don't they?
Don't know what the solution is. I'm sure it's being thought about. Whether it's certain schemes, would that be attractive to a developer to do that? I'm a big believer in. I had a conversation a year ago with government officials about in introducing developments where a percentage of a development is held back for first-time buyers. So in the UK, they call it shared ownership, allowing people to get on the ladder. Is that something where they may say, well, we're going to apportion land or sell land, but actually certain parts of land must be considered for, retirement community? I don't know. I'm sure it's certainly something that's on their mind. I mean, one thing about Dubai is I would never count it out. It's always way ahead of what we're even thinking.
Okay, last two questions. Number one, when we think about mortgages here, it's very expensive actually for people to buy a house. They've got to find essentially 25% of the price, 27% of the price of the property. So if they're spending $1 million, they've got to find $270,000 before they can get going.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, saving up $270,000 could take years. In the UK, we have a different structure. We can get 95% mortgages.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got to put that in total, 10% down, including stamp deposit kind of stuff. Is there any work being done with the brokers, the developers and the government and the banks, more importantly? Because the banks are laughing at 27%.
Plus the interest rates right now.
Yeah. But the banks are laughing because if anyone defaults, they're sitting on a great asset anyway.
Well, look,
what can we do?
Quick backstory. It's very, very smart what the government has done. I think 5 years ago, maybe longer than actually 7 years ago, they lowered the LTV range from, I think it was 85%. So having to put 15% down or even 10% down to you having to put 75% back then. So putting 25% down. That allowed Dubai to be more liquid. And a part of the problems many, many, many years ago when we opened was Dubai was so illiquid that any change in marketplace, it put a lot of people in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people left the country or weren't able to pay things. So actually served its purpose very, very well. It's been a great cooling mechanism. It's made the market a lot more mature. There are loads of news stories about helping first-time buyers, about at developer stage and with banks and building society, with banks. If you actually speak to, whilst this news has gone out, if you actually speak to the banks, which we have, by the way, and the developers, it's very vague. Not a lot of people know a lot about basically this scheme to allow more people to buy things. So how meaningful is it going to be? Will it just be a case of, well, we'll take some discount off a unit or we'll do this? It needs to be substantial because it is a concern, for people that, are school teachers or, earning sub 30,000 dirhams. Dubai needs people to have deeper roots in country. More deeper roots in country, we will get to our goal of 5.5, 6 million people in country. And you see already there's more people that have roots here because it's a little bit easier to do business here than it did when we were many, many years ago. I don't think the answer is actually changing the LTV to 5%. I think that could create its own issues and, make the bubble even bigger than what it is right now. But I think there should be some incentives around first-time buyers, for example, 4%. So every single buyer has to pay 4% government stamp duty, transfer fees. Is that fair for someone making their first purchase? Mm-hmm. I think something could be done then. I have highlighted this also, but I get it. The government needs to fund things and all that sort of stuff and be fair. There's more that needs to be done for sure. My brother right now and younger people in their office, the gap to getting on that ladder is difficult. And unless you're in real estate or, a well-paid job, it's, you're talking 4 or 5 years minimum to be able to save to be in a position to buy your first home.
Interesting, isn't it? But we need people at the bottom rung of the ladder to get onto the other steps. Otherwise, all the people buying at that bottom rung are the landlords.
Mate, do you know why this market has done as well as it has in the last 4 or 5 years? It's not just, Dubai, glitz, we're buying this off-plan properties. There is so much liquidity in this marketplace. For example, Darren Murphy bought his villa 4 years ago for 5 million dirhams, let's give or take. Just sold it for 25. Okay. He is incredibly liquid. There are lots of people at the minute that are moving in Dubai to buy something else from the money that are made. We're creating chains. So it's not just a case of, we're buying here then everywhere. We've seen people making moves because of the money they've made in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's a sign of a mature marketplace. But we do need to address these first-time buyers because these developers, what will happen one day, I'm not saying we're in for any bust, but what will happen one day is this excitement will peter off in 2, 3, and we need to be creative to allow people opportunities to buy. I think I've seen some developers say, well, you can pay monthly. The problem with that is what's the track record of a developer? I wouldn't sell something to someone knowing that I wouldn't be confident buying myself. So there's more work which needs to be done. Again, I've had conversations about a year ago with government officials where they've shown me so much data. There's a room of all the real estate, the top guns, all the data of what's happened. They know the problem. They know it. It's not like we're saying you've got to do something more. I think they've got to make a decision of balancing doing things properly and not creating a bubble, and then also creating opportunities for people to be able to get on the ladder fairly and
get into the market.
Maybe someone buys and they can't sell for a period of time. You're locked into that property purchase to not then create that bubble. Buying and reselling, something like that. I don't know, making it more affordable at the start, but not, you don't want to encourage people cheating the system, buying and flipping.
Yeah.
You want genuine people like, let's say, one of your daughters, buying the first home, being able to do it, but not doing it for reasons just to make money, doing reasons to live somewhere.
Got it. Now, lastly, you look about 10 years younger than you did last week, and last week you looked about 10 years younger than you did the week before. Okay, tell me the name of your surgeon. What's your secret? What's going on? Because you look phenomenal for someone of your age.
For my age? Oh, wow. Look, I said, me and Spence were exchanging messages last week, and we said, I said, what's your moisturiser? We should bring out a moisturiser brand because you look fantastic as well. Absolutely great. Do you know what it is, mate? So I looked at a photo when I had my first daughter, and I looked at myself and I thought, wow, you look a mess. Bloated face, receding hairline. I've had a hair transplant, by the way. But I've lost quite a bit of weight in the last 2-3 years. A huge focus on my health, and I think getting towards 40, I was like, I need to do something here and to be around for my kids for a lot longer. The consequence is that you tend to look a little bit better, and people say in the office, "Oh, Carl's had a glow up," which is always nice to hear. But I just think I've not really thought about that side of things. Not thought about looking better. It's just firstly, can I feel better? I do feel loads better. It's brought loads more energy, and I think I look better as well, which is good.
You work out every day,
6 days a week.
and every day you work out before you go to work, yeah?
Yes.
Tell me the difference in your levels of performance as a professional business owner, as a man manager, as a leader, by doing that workout first thing in the morning.
I said to you off camera, I think doing the hardest thing you can do at the start of the day sets you up for the rest of the day. Everything else is easy thereafter. What it's done for me personally is getting up earlier. It's made me a little bit more disciplined. So I now know I've got to be up at a certain time rather than being a bit, I'll get up and work out anytime.
Yeah.
Made me more disciplined. The energy levels, and if someone suffers with mood swings or, lack of energy, that working out in the morning fixes that. I'm telling you now, being around people, you've got more energy, you've got more ideas, being more determined strategically. I don't know what it is, but even in the afternoon when I've had a long day, I've never been so focused. It's never been so on it ever than I have been. And you'd think I'd be tired, but it's like I'm a new me. It's like I'm me 10 years ago, even younger. So I think there's so many benefits, and it's so frustrating when I say to people, look, this is my routine. I'm up at 5:30. I go to the gym at 6. Sometimes I'm there for 2 hours. I might go depending on what time I finish, I'll then go for a 5K walk. Then I'll get in the office. And people look at me like, oh, you're getting up at 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't do that. And it's an excuse. And I just think I'm trying to explain to people the benefits. It gives you more energy, gives you more purpose. You feel better in yourself. And then the day it's just from now. I don't understand why anyone wouldn't do it, apart from it's hard. It is hard. People, and you'll probably vouch for this, when you go and work out, the moment you get there, you don't want to be there. You probably like the idea of, I like the idea of how I feel at the end, but let me tell you, that feeling afterwards, there aren't many feelings of satisfaction, the energy levels. I've done something. It's like the military say, when you get up, you make your bed. It's your first win of the day. For me, my first win of the day is getting in my car at 5:30 in the morning when it's dark. Then I finish my session, and my days are having a series of wins. I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop me. And I wish more people could see that, because the more wins you have, the more confidence you have, the more great you feel, and more likely you're going to do good things throughout the rest of your day.
For sure. Two brothers start a business in 2008. They go on to build the largest real estate brokerage here in the UAE. And if you consider this market, probably one of the largest real estate brokerages in the world. I have seen every part of that journey from the very beginning, the guys you were to the guys that you've become. And I'm enormously proud of the success you've had. You've really done well. So
Don't make me cry, mate.
Congratulations on such an enormous achievement. It's really beautiful to watch two good human beings do great things. Thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you so much. Legend. Thank you, mate.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Allsopp Allsopp Mortgage Brokers, the leaders in Dubai real estate. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to refinance, Allsopp Allsopp's dedicated mortgage team will expertly guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless and stress-free journey. Now, with over 16 years of experience, they offer exclusive access to the UAE's best rates, personalized advice, and tailored financing solutions that perfectly suit your needs, leaving you free to focus on finding your dream home. And that's what we want. Experience the difference with Allsopp Allsopp, your trusted partner in securing the perfect mortgage solution.